Hello and welcome to Show Up Stand Out online visibility series for entrepreneurs. And I am delighted today to have a dear friend of mine on, Una Doyle. Una Doyle is a business strategist and coach for creatives. And this is brilliant because we are going to discuss something that a lot of creatives will find that they can resonate with. And this is hidden blocks that we have, these insecurities that we have, and something that holds us from realizing our potential and moving forward. Hi, Una. How are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for having me here.
I'm delighted that you're here. So, Una, let's just talk a little bit about what you do and in the light of the hidden blocks that we all have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the interesting thing is I started off in creative agencies doing PR and marketing, so I understand about creative services and how they work. And then I actually kind of through a bit of a journey, I ended up then training and setting up a business as a life coach first. And that's significant because for a few reasons, really. One, because I was really working with people in a very deep way, helping them to release, to eliminate, to just kick to the other end of the universe these blocks that hold people back. And sometimes they don't feel like blocks. They're more like patterns of behavior, patterns of emotions, patterns of reacting in certain ways and things. So they're not always very visible. So I was doing that, and the thing is that I then experienced some challenges because I wasn't very good at the business side of running the business. So I was very good at getting known and the things that came naturally to me. Like I did a lot of public speaking. I got paid to speak at conferences and things like that. My biggest audience was 2,000 people at the head office of Asda Walmart, speaking to their staff about how to present more confidently. And so the thing is that what I was missing at that time, I was doing the inner growth, but then I needed the structures and the strategies, and I went and learned that. And for a while, I left the tool I was using to help people really, get rid of those deep down patterns and beliefs and things that keep them stuck. And I was focused more on the business side, and now I've brought them together. And I'm just so excited. In the last couple of weeks, I've already done, I think, about 10 sessions with people, and the shifts people are having are amazing. And I tell you why I did this. It's because I've been working with a lot of creative service providers, so animators, copywriters, PR, marketing consultants, digital, those kinds of people. And working with a lot of them on creating what I call their client attraction and conversion engine. So how do they get the right people to come and be attracted to them? And then where it's a right fit, how do they convert those into paying clients? And a lot of that was around raising prices, because there is an epidemic of freelancers and smaller creative services businesses massively undercharging and over delivering. And when they do both together, the profits just take a nosedive. So, and they end up working all sorts of hours, and it actually really causes them to doubt themselves, to think, why can't I make this business be more successful? I have clients, but I'm like on this hamster wheel, and how do I get off that? I don't know. So I work with them to put that in place. And what I found was that my clients were doing that. So I've had clients double and even triple their prices and be able to massively increase their revenues as a result, and profits, okay? Not just sales, but profits as well, because that's what you pay yourself out of.
That's right.
And so the thing is that they were doing it, yet it really struck me just in this last week or so. I've had a client I've worked with who has tripled their prices and who had another client opportunity that looked very promising, and yet was still doubting going in at these higher rates. And I was like, this is an inside job. It isn't about skills. It's not about strategies. It's not about structures. And all of those things they are essential. But if you have them without doing that inside work, then I think even if you manage to do it, it doesn't feel good. And for a lot of people, it makes their progress very slow, or even it grinds them to a halt entirely.
I can relate to that because I have been for a long time. Ever since I started my digital marketing agency, that's exactly the route I took. I was over delivering and really undercharging because I thought, oh, well, if my prices are lower, I'm definitely going to get more clients. The funny thing is that I didn't get more clients. I got the clients who were working with me, and some of them are still around, but there was not that many more clients coming in because, the other thing is, some people were just thinking, well, if she's so cheap, she's not serious.
Yeah.
Or if she works from a virtual office and not a proper office, she's not serious,
It's not that, it's the prices. Okay.
Yeah.
I think these days, the vast majority of buyers don't care if you don't have an office. In fact, I think some of them might prefer it, because if it's just you and not a team, you don't need an office. That's just an extra overhead that you're passing on the cost to them.
That's true.
Now, for some people, for some personality profiles, they do benefit from having that structure away from the home. So I think for those people who feel, oh no, should I be working at home? No, absolutely. I love working at home, but I'm able to I don't get distracted by watching TV or anything like that. I just like the fact I can put a stew on at lunchtime
Yes.
and then, oh, look, dinner's ready, So the thing is that you've got to find the best ways for you to work, but then it's these hidden things that come along.
Yeah.
And like there's a client I'm working with at the moment, classic example where, when they went and spoke to a prospective client, they had them so excited. They actually do a really good job of that first meeting, which is something I often teach creative services how to have that first meeting in such a way that they're, if the fit is there, they will become a customer. And because a sale isn't about what happens in that final sale conversation, it starts way before that. I'm sure you know. And so
I'm natural at that.
Yeah, they were really excited with that. And then when they went back and spoke to them and money was in the conversation, tanked. And they've had this experience a few times. And so those are the things where people might say, oh, well, I'm just no good at talking about money. But actually, what's really going on there? There's probably things like caring what other people think, wanting to please people in the mistaken belief that they want you to be cheaper than you are, not approving of yourself because, somebody once said it's not good to talk about money, so therefore if I talk about money, how can I approve of myself, or I'm worried about other people disapproving of me. It can be things like not feeling good enough, okay, that and insecure. And a lot of these might sound very similar, but there's actually subtle distinctions between them. There's expectations is a big one. It shows up in so many different ways. And so can you see how these things, and actually pressure is another one. The pressure as a business owner to provide for myself and my family if I have one. The pressure of what other people might think. The pressure of when I get this work, I then have to deliver it.
That's right. Yes. I went through all those in my past. I can literally all of those things, and they all took some time. Some things more than other. Some things took more inner work than the other ones. Sometimes awareness itself helps you. Just highlighting that you have that reaction helps, but sometimes it takes much more. And we are talking. By the way, Una mentioned something. The tool that she used as a life coach, and now she's using it in business, which I think is fantastic combination. This tool is called Lotus Seed Life, and it's an inner work. It's a little, how would we put it? It's spiritual thing, isn't it?
Well, it is if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. So there's no religious or spiritual connotations on it. But if you want it to be, it can help you have a closer relationship with God or what the universe or whatever your terminology is. Because really what it's doing is it's taking what isn't you and you're letting that go. So it's really about getting back to the real you rather than you plus all other people's stuff, plus all my experiences and what I interpreted those experiences to be, plus all the things people told me that I am, plus, all the crap. And so instead, layer by layer, we're getting rid of those. So you actually become the best version of yourself. It's not about you changing. It's not about you becoming somebody that you're not. It's about you actually being you. And it was interesting, in a session with somebody, we were working on them speaking up, and kind of speaking for themselves, and just really being able to be assertive, really. But what was so interesting is that they had a fear that, oh, well, if I do that, then that means I'm not going to be a nice person. Whereas it's actually not about that. And like another part of that was about putting themselves first. But if you put yourself first, that doesn't mean that you're being selfish, but most people would say it is.
That's right. That's how we are brought up or something. It's in so many people. You really have to, even though I'm working on that part, put myself first, and I try and allow, and I do allow much more than before, this journey. But I see in my family members, and I see how they're still hard on themselves rather than they're not putting themselves first. And I know I'm still probably not putting myself first as much as I deserve. So this is my one of my journeys in life, because I'm aware of it, is to achieve.
Yeah. I don't deserve is another session. And because the thing is if you don't feel that you deserve good things, then why would you allow yourself to have a profitable business that pays you well?
That's true.
You wouldn't. Why would you allow yourself to have clients that treat you well and that honor your boundaries? Why would you allow yourself to have a personal life as opposed to working from 5 a.m. until 10 p.m., as one person told me this week?
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, that ain't happening for long.
No, and that's
I guarantee you within a few weeks, they're not going to be doing that.
This is an interesting thing, because I am such a big growth hacker. So if something prevents me from growing, I will go and address this thing. It's something that's in me, and I've been always like that. And now, as being an adult and being in my 40s, I don't want to grow, or, I don't want to grow old with all these blocks. I want to grow old happier than I was before, and try and be happy and just reach that zen at the end. So that's my journey. And I have availed of the LSL tool session that we call it LSL because it's just long. It's too long. It's too much to say. But I have availed it, and I can explain this, and maybe I can describe this. As you said, you're not changing. So I filled a form, and Una was able to spot a certain area that we needed to work on, just simply from what I was saying, which I, at that moment, didn't think that was the problem. I wouldn't be using that particular word to describe what my blog is. And of course, for a person from the outside and from what I've written on the form, it was easier to spot that. So we started working on that. And literally within a couple of days, after the session itself revealed a couple of things that were unexpected to me, but then after that, in a couple of days, I can describe this. It's not that you're changing, not at all. But what you feel is a feeling of relief, because you just don't worry, or you don't have any negative things attached to those particular issues that you're working on. And it's an amazing feeling. And can I tell you a story? The very first time, I've never won any lottos in my life. right? And
Oh,
then
yeah.
in 2000 and maybe 2012, I started working with my mindset and, trying to be more positive. A beautiful book came into my life and I started, thinking about how my thoughts work.
Yeah.
And literally, it was Christmas time and I lost a client. I was kind of devastated the day before we had this chat that, half of my wages were, or the money I was getting was kind of cut. And I was like, oh my God, it's Christmas next week. What are you doing to me? I was very stressed out. And the next morning I woke up, I played a lotto online before, and I woke up to an email that says, you got an amazing news. It was the very, very first email I ever got. They do send these notifications, but it was the very first one. And I remember that feeling. Before I even opened the email, the feeling that I got, so you won a lotto, yes? What do you feel like? Are you going like mad or what's the feeling? It was a relief. It was absolute calm and relief. Yeah. And I learned from that experience that this is exactly that feeling of relief.
Interesting.
Yeah, because you don't have worries. You stopped worrying. You have, that part is done. There is no worry, and that's an amazing feeling. And that's how I felt after the session that we did as well in different aspects. It's like an onion. So you are getting, you're peeling off, but that's a relief. It's a relief in one section. And when you're relieved and you're not worried, it's so much easier to be assertive. It's so much easier to go and talk about money or,
to be creative as well. One of the things I talk a lot about with my clients is about being in flow. And so, having structures in place to allow that are really important. If you think of a path, if you take the path of least resistance through a jungle, you don't have to be hacking your way. It's already there for you.
That's right.
And so when you can build the right structures into your business, that allows that. But it's almost like, if you don't let go of these blocks, if you have them, and most people have them to one extent or another, but they might not be enough to bother them, or they might be crippling them, or anything in between. But it's almost like the path is there, but you're choosing to go off hacking into the jungle,
That's right.
instead of taking the easier way.
That's exactly what's happening. It's like you just don't see that path, or you just think, well, hang on, it can't be so simple. I have to do it. And it's not, exactly. And it's easy, and you don't have to worry about hacking the woods. You just go.
No, exactly. And it's almost like, I got a couple of nature analogies for you here. So the reason Lotus Seed Life is called that is because when the lotus flower is just a seed, then it actually lives in the mud in the bottom of ponds, right? And it has to grow through all this mud and grime and mire, and it kind of eventually comes up to the surface, and then it blooms. And the more pink they are, the more beautiful they are considered to be. But the interesting thing is, guess what makes them more pink? It's the more crap they have to grow through.
Wow, this is brilliant. What an amazing...
It's a wonderful metaphor, isn't it?
And it's true, when you look at people who achieved a lot, they usually have some serious ups and downs on the way, like really, really things that not just like slight, change in their like homeless or, lost everything. And then they go and bounce back. It's so true. It's just whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger, basically.
There's a difference between the person who goes, success, failure, success, failure, success, failure. That happens to a lot of people. But it's going success, failure, success, failure. So that each learning opportunity is grabbed with both hands, and just every little last drop drained out of it. And I think with Lotus Seed Life, the lessons that would take several lifetimes, actually you can do them in a compressed time. So as you experience, you have a session over the next 3 to 5 days, you are processing that out. Now, a lot of the time people don't notice what's going on. It's very subtle. This isn't a technique that you apply. It actually is something that just releases this. So it's just not there. So then sometimes people don't even notice it. And when we talk again, and I say, all right, so, what happened? Did you notice anything? Oh, well, no, I don't know really. And I say, oh, well, tell me what happened over the past few days. And they'll start talking, and then they'll go, oh, now that you mention it, I had a conversation with so-and-so about this, and normally I would have got really upset, and I didn't even notice that.
I agree. It's very subtle. I consider myself extremely sensitive to energies, people's energies, my own energies. So I was very open. My eyes were open, like every little tiny thing that was different in my mind or in my body, because we physically, when we grow, the body then has to catch up. So you can get through loads of strange experiences. And it was such an amazing experience just to see. And then to see sometimes, yes, you can see like maybe the old habit or that block is coming up to you. So you just repeat, there's a certain homework that you do. And I just repeat that thing. And literally it just, it goes. There's no mumbo jumbo, and there's nothing like, like fireworks or something. And then, the pumpkin turns into a card. It doesn't happen like that. But there is. It's like an inner strength. You just become tiny bit, but a little stronger. So it all builds up.
Absolutely. But here's the second nature analogy for you. So imagine you have a forest. Okay. So let's say it's a smaller wood, right? And so let's say there were 5 trees in this. Okay. And so if each tree were an issue that, that we would work on. So one might be, I care what others think. Another might be, I don't deserve. Another might be abuse. Another might be blame. Another might be pleasing others. And let's throw in not good enough. Okay, so we've got 6 trees here. And so typically what happens in the personal development and growth world is that people don't see the whole tree. They only see the leaves. So if you're looking at a forest, what do you see? Green. Okay, you're not seeing the branches and the trees. So what's happening with Lotus Seed Life is that we're not dealing with just the leaves or even the branches, which some approaches may get to. We're actually taking the whole tree and the roots right out. And when trees are together, their roots intertwine. So even when people see the shifts and feel the shifts in that issue being removed, so say we work on, I don't deserve, okay? So then they start saying, oh yeah, actually, I do deserve to be happy. I do deserve to, like for me, one of my things was deserving a man who would be faithful to me, because every relationship I had men had cheated on me, because at some level, I didn't believe I deserved any better. Okay, so, it might be that. Some things might show up more in your personal life, some things might show up more in your business life, but it's all you. So you're working on it. So you start thinking, oh yeah, I do deserve. So then you start thinking, okay, I'm going to start taking some more action in my business. So then maybe you go, okay, I'm going to do this promotion, or I'm going to start doing more posts or on social media, or I'm going to reach out to people specifically. Whatever the actions are, all of a sudden you're like, okay, but what are they going to think of me? Okay, so we take out that tree. So then they're like, okay, great, yeah, I deserve this, and I don't care what people think. That's all right. And then they get into a conversation with somebody, and maybe they're in a sales conversation, and then they're, so they're talking, and they look like a good fit, and and so the person's saying, well, I really want it, but I don't know if I can afford it. How much do you charge? And they go, oh, that's so nice, and I really want to please this person. Yes. So they drop the prices by 25%, right? So we get rid of that. And then, what was the other one I mentioned? Abuse, wasn't it? So a lot of people would say, oh, abuse is like, say, sexual abuse, or like one partner beating up another in a relationship, or maybe like being bullied, but probably only where, maybe kids were fighting in the school ground. Actually, abuse is from criticism right up. Most people wouldn't think of abuse as being criticism, but actually that is a minor form of abuse. The thing is, many people get into an abuse cycle where if they, sorry, that's my phone. If they don't, they get this abuse and then they expect to be abused. And if they don't get that abuse, they start pushing on other people to abuse them. Okay. And so the thing is that we can actually abuse ourselves. And I see this in people where they will almost punish themselves. So they kind of go, well, no, I'm going to abuse you. So yeah, you're going to get these clients, and okay, yeah, now you're going to charge appropriately, and you don't care what they think, and you're done with trying to please them. But actually, I'm going to abuse you by making you over deliver. And so you're going to abuse your body by not looking after it properly. Yeah. Or you're just not going to get enough sleep because you're going to work too many hours. Or you're going to abuse yourself by not allowing yourself to get into a relationship until your business is a success. Or you'll abuse yourself by, not paying attention to the relationship you have. So then it starts going sour. Okay. So can you see how all of these things actually intertwine?
Absolutely. I actually had a real terrible cycle of that sort of abuse that you just described, where I had a client that was like a bad marriage. We would end up screaming at each other. He paid me very little. He treated me horrendously. He would bully me, and then I will come back and, threaten him with something. But I actually don't do that very often. It only happened once or twice, but he pushed me into that. And it was horrible. It was 5 years.
Yeah.
It lasted for 5 years. And it felt like a bad marriage. And I walked out, and I felt so relieved after that. And then I started thinking about that.
Yeah. And see, the thing is that unless you release patterns like that at a deep level, they tend to resurface.
That's right.
They might be in another guise. They might be at a lesser level because you're now aware, oh, I don't want exactly like that, but maybe there's something else. And this is why I think the opportunity to talk about the hidden blocks is so powerful, because people will often say, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, no, I don't have any blocks. People don't want to, they feel like it's admitting, oh, there's something wrong with me. It's like, look, honey, it ain't you, it's everybody. And
there's another way. I love it. I love discovering
very few people.
I think that discovering blocks is like becoming, like seeing again after you've been blind, because you're like, oh my God, now I know why this is not working. I actually have this block. I'm always so happy. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get rid of it if I can.
Absolutely. And I am now the same, but I wasn't always like this. Okay. So, I kind of ended up in the world of personal development, kicking and screaming, thinking, what is all this stuff? No. I just want to go to work, because I was in a job at the time. I just want to go to work and get pissed every weekend.
Yeah.
Because that's how I handle it. It's like, okay, let's keep all this stuff down. Mm-hmm. No, don't need to address this. That's a bit too scary,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, And another...
It is scary because you're pushing yourself. But you have to get addicted to that a little uncomfortable feeling. It's a good one.
What's really interesting is that for many people, they would rather have an uncomfortable life than to face the unknown of dealing with these things.
That's so true.
And I think until I came across Lotus Seed Life, I think I always was too scared to really go there. And what was really powerful is that it didn't matter what came up. We either already had a session to deal with it, or we have some personalized statements around one or more sessions that will deal with that thing. When I was doing Lotus Seed Life back in the day, when I was purely doing life coaching, I helped a guy leave an abusive relationship. He literally came to me and said, I want to leave my girlfriend, but I can't. She's abusive. And it took 14 months with longer and longer breaks all the time. And then eventually he never went back. I helped a girl who had been raped at 16 and had become agoraphobic, yet was facing doing her exams. And just a few sessions, she was able to go and do her exams and go and get a job and have a life without all those fears and those issues. Mm-hmm. I worked with people who were bullied. I was bullied at school. And so many people have been bullied in one form or another. And to be able to let go of that and to be able to have boundaries. When I think back, really, I gosh, I was kind of like a passive aggressive doormat, and
You're describing me so much, like, especially through my 30s. My God. Passive aggressive doormats brigade, guys, hello.
Yeah. So, and it's like, and now it's like, I mean, can you imagine attempting to treat me badly?
I know. I have been so reactive throughout my life until I started really looking at it. And actually, that's another area I might even revisit. Who knows if it's cleared or not? I've never done any sessions on that. But I have to say, because I had bad relations with my dad. I was bullied in school. I definitely, passive aggressive doormat is exactly how I was for a long time, even though I am very...
Doing the abuse session, I don't deserve, I care what others think, not good enough, pleasing, obligated. That's a really interesting one because it's actually quite hidden a lot of the time. And so this is a hidden money block as well.
Wow.
That actually people can feel, not consciously, okay? Like a lot of this stuff, it isn't conscious, and you don't even have to know you have it. We'll be able to tell just by kind of what's coming up for you and what what you're saying and that. And so yeah, people can feel obligated not to earn money because actually they know at some level it'll make other people around them uncomfortable.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. People might feel obligated to do things for other people when actually they could be perfectly capable of doing them themselves.
That's right.
They might feel obligated to feel guilty. Like, I was brought up Catholic with a mother who was amazing. She had a wonderful gift for making everybody feeling guilty. And God bless her soul. Yes. She has passed now, and I'm sure is a lot happier than she was many times on this earth. I mean, she wasn't completely miserable, but it's that you'll know.
That comes, what I've learned as well.
Irish thing, yeah.
And it comes from their childhood, so it's not actually their fault in a way. Yes, it was the same with my dad.
Only do and be the way they were taught. Yeah, there's no blame there at all. Yeah, and so the thing is like to be able, like a client has said that, their mother would always put this guilt trip on them. So they felt obligated to be guilty. So we worked on that as well as the guilt.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really like an onion, isn't it? Endless layers. And it's amazing. I am enjoying it. I have to say, I am enjoying it. And I think that in business, the funny thing about business and the funny thing about when I started, my online business and I wanted to be a confidence coach. And that really just resonated with me so much more than business or Facebook or anything I teach now. But I was told, no, you're not going to, like, regular people, they don't want to pay money to be more confident. They just continue being miserable. But who wants to be confident? Business people wants to be confident. You need to think about maybe combining that with something else. Now, whatever happened, I'm very happy with what I'm doing right now. But it was an interesting observation. People, entrepreneurs are people who have to build things themselves so much that they recognize that it is within themselves, that there's a hidden block or something is stopping them from doing it. And I know that from my own entrepreneurial journey, when I felt like you're hitting a wall and you don't know what it is. You're like, how come that I'm not doing what is written here? I have a plan. I know I need to do it. Why am I not doing it? Something is stopping me, and it's a very strong thing. So you go and address that. And you go and work with
absolutely. And I would say, so there's three ways it shows up in business. So number one, it shows up that people are not taking action or not taking enough action. Number two is when they're taking the wrong action. So they're still not getting the results they want. And number three is when they are actually taking the right actions, but they're still not getting the results. So it's like a business consultant I worked with, and we did a session. This person had done a lot of personal growth, and so they would go and have a first session with people, but they wouldn't sign with them then and there. They'd have to go back at least 2 or 3 times usually. Yet their peers were signing people in the first meeting. And so we worked on one session, And a few days later, we're on the phone and they say, I don't get this. I didn't do anything differently. I didn't say anything differently. I didn't even feel anything different. But I had 3 first-time meetings since our session, and they all signed with me. Okay, and so this is the thing, is like that person was doing all the right actions, but they weren't getting the results they wanted. But for them, that was about the vibe they were giving off, and that caused people not to trust us. So their own trust issues was causing other people not to trust them. So, and then it would take a few meetings before those barriers would come down, probably on both sides. But then when those barriers were gone, they trusted this person instantly.
That's true.
So, and then that increased their sales. Well, they were able to see twice as many people. Okay, so that means they potentially doubled their sales.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. And it's an amazing feeling when you're really truly becoming comfortable, and just, it's not about confidence that, that you're sort of like, I have to like mighty 300 or something. It's not that kind of confidence that you go into a battle. It's just relaxation. You're just relaxed and you're enjoying the process, and that's so cool.
Inner peace. Okay. That is the biggest thing that I have achieved with the help of Lotus Seed Life, is inner peace, because peace is an absence of conflict. And so often we are, I want this. Oh, but yeah, but you're not good enough. Or no, you need to do this instead because you have to please these people over here. All that stuff. There's like a battle going on inside most people, consciously or unconsciously or both. And so when you don't have that, you're able to just, be. And do you know what? It is exhausting trying to please people. It is exhausting caring what people think. It is exhausting to
worrying.
Be in a cycle, to worry, to feel pressure. It's horrible. It's like, and it's funny, like even talking with you today about what I used to be like, that really feels like a different person.
It just, what, it's the same here. I was just describing my past experiences. I'm honest. I have like my upper back is all like this tight just because I felt like I, dove back into that. And I don't have to deal with it now. It's not around.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, let's find out how people can find you, and how can they experience this amazing session, this magic. Well, which is not magic. It's just...
Well, do you know what? It's so new. I don't even have it on my website at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll pop a link for people to book a Lotus Seed Life breakthrough session. And that's what Juliet was describing earlier. And where you'll actually get to experience it. And we'll kind of talk through and see what are the hidden things that we can uncover for you, so you can actually deal with them instead of them running you. You can actually release them. And that's just so empowering. And boy, it'll make difference in your business and also in your personal life as well. So I'll pop a link. I'll give you a link to share with people to do that. And yeah, absolutely. You give me a shout and we can have a chat about it, and you can book that. I'm so excited and I'm so loving it. I actually feel more whole and more in integrity doing kind of, because it's two sides of the same coin in terms of helping, business owners to be able to deal with this stuff and use the right strategies and skills and things. So yeah,
it's extremely satisfying. Yeah. You can just see when you see transformation, it's extremely satisfying thing. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much for watching it. I hope that you find that this is maybe something that you need to address in yourself. And believe me, the shifts that are happening, and I've experienced it myself, and I can tell you this is something that I want to experience more and more, and until that wood is all gone.
Absolutely. I know. And if anyone can come up with a more environmentally friendly analogy, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, perfect. They were all sick trees. It's good to get rid of the sick trees.
Oh, guys, wonderful. Yes, that's what I need to put in there. Thank you. Yeah.
There we go. Guys, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. And if you found value, or if you have something to add, please comment below. This was Juliet Stapleton, a visibility strategist, and Una Doyle-Love, who is a business coach and strategist for creatives. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.
Thank you very much, Juliet. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.